So we've discussed what type 1 diabetes is, and that is it's an autoimmune condition in which the beta cells of your pancreas are attacked and destroyed and are no longer making enough insulin or any insulin. There is a very interesting phenomenon that occurs right after we start treating an individual with insulin, and we call it the honeymoon phase. The medical lingo sometimes refers to it as transient remission. And we like to joke that, like all honeymoons, it's short-lived. But the point of that comment is not so much humor as much as to emphasize that it's a temporary state. So what happens is that your body is so stressed and essentially the beta cells of the pancreas gets tired or is burned out of making insulin. And when you give insulin back, it's almost like there's a short recovery or a second wind that occurs. And so this may happen, and it generally happens in kids who are a little older than younger. But the important thing to remember is that, unfortunately, the diabetes didn't get cured, and you just have to be very mindful of that. So, like it says here, after being diagnosed and started on insulin, there are a few beta cells that sort of get a second wind and restart secreting insulin. So what ends up happening is that your insulin needs or requirements will go down, and at the same time, you may have sort of some unpredictability and may be subjected to more low blood sugars. So just keep that in mind as we go forward, and certainly discuss this with your doctor or healthcare team, and they will help adjust and manage these. So you could ask, how long is this expected to last? When will it begin? Usually begins after a few weeks of insulin therapy, and it can last a very long time, or it can last just a few days to weeks. So really, there's no telling, unfortunately. It's very hard to predict, but we know it happens, and it's just important to be aware. During this time, a lot of children may need a lot less insulin. Some actually may come off of insulin for a little bit of time, but just remember that it is still important to check blood sugars and follow the directions of your medical team.